Stop me if you've heard this before, but the Dallas Cowboys are signing another player to a one-year contract. This time it is a wide receiver. No, it is not a big name. It is Parris Campbell, who had spent last year with the Philadelphia Eagles. He now takes his third NFC team. He also played for the New York Giants after beginning his career with the Indianapolis Colts. We will break down this signing and what I think the Cowboys are actually really doing with all of these veteran moves here. But if you haven't already, make sure you guys are subscribed. I told you in some capacity, all these signings, whether it's a brief short one like we did for Israel Mukuamu, full-on breakdown like Dante Fowler, we will have a video for you. So hit that sub button for more free Cowboys YouTube videos. Paris Campbell comes in after spending last season with the Philadelphia Eagles, where quite frankly, he basically made no impact. 6 catches, 30 yards, and a touchdown. He had, over the final couple games of the season, no impact. He caught 4 passes for 17 yards in week 4, and then did not catch a pass the remainder of the season. So you might be going, Tom, why are the Cowboys even signing Parris Campbell? Does this mean they're not going to take a receiver? No, none of that. What the Cowboys are doing right now, to me, is basically making some of these veteran players, like a Parris Campbell, like Miles Sanders, replacements for undrafted free agency. The undrafted free agent class, and kind of the late round draft class as well, isn't crazy strong. And that's in part because of the NIL era. Guys go back to school. You're still dealing with the ramifications of the COVID year where guys also get extra time to go back to school. So the depth of these draft classes is a little bit thin. I don't think Parris Campbell is very likely to make this roster. And look, we don't have the details right now on the contract. Outside of 1 year, I would bet this is 1 year, the vet minimum, and maybe $200,000 guaranteed. I mean, it could be half $100,000. It could be $50K. Because Parris Campbell was cut last year by the Eagles. He was on their practice squad, came back up. That he's a non-factor in your act. Like, this doesn't do anything for your actual wide receiver rotation outside of gives you another slot receiver. He can compete with Jalen Cropper for a practice squad spot, or if injuries happen, or if he surprises and looks more like he did in Indianapolis, sweet. But this is not someone the Cowboys are actually going to be banking on making the 53-man roster. This is someone that, hey, you know what? Clayton Adams probably liked what he was able to do in Indianapolis. We'll talk about that in a little bit here. Let's bring him in, see if he has any juice left. And if he doesn't have any juice left, they'll just cut him. But if I had to guess right now, I don't think Parris Campbell makes his team. Because he's at best like receiver 5 or 6. And that might honestly be pushing with what we saw last season and his complete lack of impact. So does Parris Campbell make the Cowboys roster? Why for yes and for no? Let me know in the comment section of today's video. Get those predictions in for me right now. Some numbers. Shout out to Nick Harris for tweeting these out first. Parris Campbell in 2022, when Clayton Adams was there, with the Indianapolis Colts, 63 catches, 623 yards, and 3 touchdowns in that game for Parris Campbell. In his other 5 seasons, 6 catches, 494 yards, and 3 scores. Isn't that very good? It hasn't been very good, I should say, since that 2022 campaign. Didn't do much with the Giants. Didn't do much with Philadelphia. He can go to the Commanders next to complete the NFC East circle of, backup roster caliber player. This is just additional depth to your wide receiver room. This should not preclude you, if you want, from going out and pursuing a Keenan Allen, from pursuing Tyler Lockett, Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs, whatever. It certainly will not preclude them from drafting T-Mac in round 1 or a different wide receiver on day 2. If I had to do as bad as Jonathan Mingo was last year, he still outproduced Jalen Tolbert. Like, when I get around to updating the wide receiver depth chart, he's not going to be on the first line, and he might barely crack the second line. I'll probably do a slot spot and plug him in there or something like it. This is depth. All of these moves, guys like Miles Sanders coming in, haven't seen contract details yet for Peyton Turner. I think a lot of these moves here are indications the Cowboys are not going to have as large of an undrafted free agent class. And they're bringing in older players like a Parris Campbell to compete for those roles instead. And say, hey, maybe he impresses. Maybe he has juice in the tank. Maybe we get a bigger impact instead of, falling for the UDFA that, doesn't always make the immediate year one impact. That's what that tells me. Because if my math is right, and my math might not be right now, this, in terms of the salary cap hit, this is going to be basically $0. The Cowboys are already up to the top 51 limit. The top 51 guys are all at least $1 million. There's a negligible salary cap hit with the Paris Campbell edition. It's not going to count right now, and I think that guarantee money is going to be super duper low, and that's fine if there's even a little bit of guaranteed money there. The Cowboys, by my count, have 74 players under contract right now. Now, they could always make some more cuts, some more releases. That's, a lot of those guys have non-guaranteed, vet min deals, whatever. But 74 players right now. They have 10 draft picks. They may or may not use all 10 of those draft picks. Maybe they flip and play around with some of those day 3 selections and package or trade for future picks or whatever. But that does put it at 84. Which would be a 6-man undrafted free agent class to get to the 90-man limit, which is far lower than what they normally do. Normally, it's like 10, it's 15, it's 12. It's a big class. 10 is one of the lower numbers. But when you have all these veterans coming in, Jones and Sanders and Dante Fowler and Solomon Thomas and Jack Sanborn and Peyton Turner, and maybe they can flip Damone Clark during the draft or whatever. And even with guys that are going to start the year on the PUP list, DeMarvion Overshown, Trayvon Diggs, whatever, you want to add those two guys, then they don't count. It's still 8 undrafted free agent spots. That's not a lot. So all of these signings scream depth and battles and competition to me. So what is your one-word reaction to the Parris Campbell signing? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. One word and one word only. I know someone put in, who cares? It's fine. I promise you guys, we do videos on these. We're not going to back off on that promise there. These moves scream additional depth, buy low candidates, values, whatever. I don't think that you should be viewing Parris Campbell as anything more than a guy who is going to fight for a roster/practice squad spot at best. This is someone that can compete with Jalen Brooks, compete, frankly, with Ryan Flournoy. Your top 4 guys are locked in currently. Lamb, Mingo, Tolbert, Turpin. That leaves 1, maybe 2 spots. A draft pick is probably going to be one of them, maybe one of those guys. Parris Campbell is a different type of player. He could be a practice squad feature for you. This is just competition. This is depth. This is, I think, replacing some of your undrafted free agent options here in this upcoming class. So we will have more videos for you. Plenty of draft coverage, of course, as well. Make sure you guys are subscribed, youtube.com/CowboysTV.